It was founded by a former health visitor, Dr. Suzanne Smith, PhD, following a research trip to the United States and Canada in 2016 to study effective interventions to prevent abusive head trauma. So a very powerful message, icon. Infant crying is normal. Comforting methods can help. It's okay to walk away for a short period to calm down, and never ever shake a baby. Next slide, please. So MECSH and ICON together, continuous support and anticipatory guidance to parents in the prevention of injury to babies. Next slide, please. So I don't know if you can see, this is the MECSH schedule that is found in the MECSH booklet schedule program that every health visitor in Harrow will carry with them. And if you can see the greenish blue column under sleep, crying and settling, icon and sudden infant deaths. You can see that in the we want to focus in the antenatal period. This is the period that we really like to enroll clients onto the program. There's up to 3 antenatal visits. We also offer the program to.
Please, can somebody mute the cameras? We're just getting the mics, please. We're just getting a bit of background noise. Thank you. Sorry, Karen.
That's all right. The next time that the other time that we focus on enrolling clients or offering the program is at the new birth visit. If we find parents that need that extra support at that time. And we do initial weekly visits for 6 weeks. At any time during those 6 weeks, especially the first 3 weeks, we will focus on ICON. We will focus on baby crying. And then at 6 to 8 weeks, there's another touch point for the MECSH program. That's when we discuss how baby is, how the mother is coping with the crying. And that's continuous support ongoing, because we do quite frequent visits in the first 6 months or so. And then at 38 weeks, that's when we do our evaluation. Next slide, please. At various points of our interaction with families, we will introduce the crying curve document or diagram. And this is to help parents to understand the crying phase that babies go through in the initial 6 to 8 weeks, where they start off crying. They're sleeping mostly around this time, then around 2 weeks to, it's around 6 to 8 weeks, crying can peak. And you can get some babies who will cry, little and often, but you could have got babies who do tend to cry for quite a few hours, which is really unsettling and very difficult for parents to cope with. But with somebody there, reassuring parents that just need to get to the end of the tunnel, it will stop at some stage, And there's other resources that we use for parents to gain guidance and information and reassurance. And we get them to click on the ICON QR code where they can go to various other sites. And there is a site for fathers as well. Next slide, please. So ICON fits really nicely into MECSH. It's very well integrated and suits the program very well. The crying curve helps parents understand that crying is normal and that there is often nothing wrong with them or their child. It's very common for mothers to feel that she has a baby who's crying plus, and there's something wrong. Is there something wrong with her? Is there something wrong with her parenting? Isn't she feeding her baby enough, etc.? And then also they can be thinking, is there something wrong with their baby? Is their baby unwell? Is something going on inside? And that's when you get quite a few parents going up to A&E with their babies, and the diagnosis is baby's crying baby. They're given some advice and they go away. On the MECSH program, we're there constantly to reassure parents and to help and guide parents. And the diagram is an impactful visual tool for us. Incorporated into health visiting, antenatal, new birth visit, 3 to 4 weeks, and 6 to 8 week touch points. And whenever the health visitor or the parents feel that they want to discuss it further. Next slide, please. Continued. Talking to parents about crying is a useful way of engaging parents and also to getting them to understand their baby, understand the baby's cues, understand baby's burgeoning character and personality. Wondering together about what might be the reason helps model curiosity for mother and baby, gets them also focusing on their baby and trying to find out what's going on here, spending time with their baby, engaging in nurturing care and playfulness is very good for the parent and baby relationship. We use demonstrator dolls in Harrow to explain the impact of shaking on the baby's brain. We make a professional judgment to say that particular parent will benefit from seeing one of these dolls and handling one of these dolls. We have 6 in all, and I'll just show you. I don't know if you can see that these are one of the dolls that we have in Harrow. I've just put a cap on, but you take the cap off and you can see that there's the baby's brain is inside there. And we just, show parents how to handle baby and not to be so vigorous that, you can cause trauma to the brain by shaking too hard. Next slide, please. So I've said before, ICON is very much integrated as a focus point in the MECSH programme. It is introduced as anticipatory guidance and support and discussed at one or all of the 3 antenatal contacts. Next page, please. At the new birth visit, 10 to 14 days, and support is continuous during any of the weekly contacts carried out in the first 6 weeks following birth. 6 to 8 weeks is another focus point, touch point, where we will discuss and reflect with parents about their child's crying. And ICON support continues throughout the following scheduled contacts until evaluation at 38 weeks. Next slide, please. So these are the questions that are asked on the ICON evaluation, which we encourage our parents to access via the QR code, which is in the Health Visitors booklet, schedule booklet. And it just helps to get an idea of, well, hopefully parents will, by that time, be aware of ICON, have got the message, and helps with the relationship with the baby. Discussing crying helps with the relationship, discussing the relationship with between parents and their baby. Next slide, please. So that's a demonstration doll that I showed you earlier. So thank you very much for listening. Any questions?
Thank you very much for that, Karen. That's really interesting. Lots of areas in Helveton are now obviously starting the MECSH programme. And Sue Smith worked with Fiona quite a lot in Australia with yourselves, obviously, Harrow, and that we're just implementing MECSH, so integrating the ICON message and the MECSH programme. And as you say, it's they dovetail together, it fits in really well. So thank you very much. That's really helpful. So it is in the books now. So if anybody that does have MECSH, you know, you can contact your MECSH leads and they will support you with that. There is a question in the chat box that says, do you have any specific criteria for the programme?
It's any family that will be needed support. And usually it's mothers who may have anxiety issues or depression, families where mothers who have come from dysfunctional backgrounds themselves, where they've experienced poor parenting. The list is quite long, but it's sort of this side of actual safeguarding. We try to get those mothers that are on the border and the work we do is preventative. It's to try and enable parents to adapt and manage.
Thank you. Thanks very much. That's very clear. Has anybody else got any comments or any questions or anything for Karen? Obviously, Angeline in Easton. Hi, Angeline.
Hello,
Hi there.
Angeline.
Hi, sorry. I was just curious how, I mean, if somebody perhaps wasn't being seen by, so how do they get referred to your service? Is that through the midwives or?
So it's either through the midwives or GPs. We also attend psychosocial meetings with our maternity departments. So any of the mothers that come up that have got challenges that we will put down to offer the MECSH programme to.
Okay, and if
so GPs also, they've all been given a referral pathway, and also at new birth visits or antenatal contacts, if we could pick up on mums whereby there are other concerns, again, we will offer the MECSH programme.
Okay, cool. Sorry, thank you. I work in learning disability service, so I was just wondering, you know, I assume that would get picked up by the GP if any of our ladies fell pregnant. That would be automatic.
I mean, this programme is mostly health visitor led. We do take referrals from, any of our partnerships, but it doesn't exclude families where there are children with disabilities at all.
So I was thinking more of parents having a mild learning disability.
No, it doesn't exclude parents who have a mild disability at all. Okay. No, they too will be offered MECSH, probably even more so.
Automatically. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you.
So health visiting service is a universal service. So anybody that has a baby will have a health visiting service, and then obviously on top of the health visiting service, as Karen's explained, anybody with any additional needs or support that they identify will go on to the enhanced MECSH programme.
That's right. I mean, health visitors have the ability to assess and to pick out those clients that could do with that extra support. We're quite young still in Harrow. We've only been going a year. We've got a fairly good MECSH caseload, and we are steadily building that caseload.
And I think, like I said before, the MECSH programme is being adopted across a lot of 0 to 19 health visiting services now, isn't it? So, you know,
Yeah.
it's really good programme.
It is good, and the MECSH leads do meet up from different areas, and the MECSH programme is quite far and wide at the moment. It's in Jersey and Guernsey, it's in Worcestershire, Haringey, Hounslow. It's growing. The programme is growing because it is so much health visiting, proper health visiting, supporting families, and working with families, identifying health needs, etc. So it's a great programme.
And obviously in Harrow, you were obviously the first areas to adopt the icon within the MECSH programme. So you do the evaluation at 38 weeks. We haven't, because of the fact that you've only just started doing icon, we haven't actually received any of the evaluations yet because it's at 38 weeks. So it'd be interesting to see that.
Coming up to 38 weeks. So, you know, we certainly will be doing the evaluations, but yeah, it's still early days.
Yeah, so that's really helpful to us to understand how the icon message is being delivered as well. So after somebody's put, we'll be sharing the slides. So all the presentations of the week are all on the website, recorded, and will be on the website.
I think there's a hand up somewhere, is there?
Oh yeah, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, hi, that's me.
Hi,
Thanks,
Sue.
thanks for your presentation. MECSH sounds a really good programme.
Yes.
Can I just ask, how many families do the help visitors hold that are on the MECSH programme?
As many as they can take on, as many as they have capacity to. So we do encourage, you know, our health visitors have their universal work and they've got their safeguarding work, but they seem to be quite receptive to taking on MECSH clients. So it's there isn't any set number. We do, and also Harrow's very transitional, so we may start families on the programme and then they move to other areas. If they move to other areas that have MECSH, that's lovely because then they can have the continuity of the programme. So, you know, we are, all of us health visitors in Harrow are constantly evaluating our MECSH caseload and adding on where we've got capacity.
Yeah, and do you find that social care try and refer families onto the MECSH programme?
Not necessarily. We do work alongside social care, but at the moment we seem to have a fairly workable relationship. You know, as a MECSH health visitor, you are looking to guide clients to other services that can benefit them as well. Our prime focus in MECSH is to try and you know, get parents to be, you know, more focused on their child in terms of their child's emotional and their development, despite their other issues, which we can support, but sometimes other agencies will be involved occasionally, and social services, whoever, and we try and work alongside those agencies.
Is it just the health visitor that do those additional contacts, or can other members of the team, like the nursery nurses or the staff nurses, depending what different skill mix you have in the teams? Because I know in Lancashire they were just starting it up, and I think other members of the team could deliver.
Yeah, I think in other areas they may have a health visitor as lead, and she may delegate some of the visits to trained staff nurses and children's nurses. Yeah, it depends on the skill mix of the team. Because
sometimes, you know, the nursery nurses or children's nurses, whichever, they called, they're best fit to do some of the like play work or other work, aren't they? So that's good to be able to utilise the whole skill mix.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if there's a specific piece of work to do with family, either, you know, guidance regarding weaning, going on to solid food, you know, then a nursery nurse or staff nurse will be perfectly qualified to do that work.
Yeah. Has anybody else got any more?
There should always be, the health visitor would always
always takes the lead.
For the family.
Yeah. Has anybody got any more comments or questions? Well, again, Karen, that was a fantastic presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
For that. And I'll put the link for the evaluation in the chat box if you wouldn't mind completing that, everybody. It's for each webinar, not for the whole week, so it's really important if you do click it. Oh, somebody has put a little comment in which I've not seen. It's disappeared. Oh no, must have been another one. So yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you. That's very informative.
Thank you.
So our next, yeah, no, that's great. Our next webinar is at 2:30, and that's by Dr. Rachel Jolly, who's one of our GP ambassadors, and she's going to talk about ICON and in general practice. So hope to see you all then. Get yourselves a bit of a brew and hopefully see you back again. That's great. Thanks, Karen. I'll hang around if anybody has any questions. If you have any questions after the webinar, just email myself and I'll be able to put you in touch with Karen if I can't answer the question myself.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to hang around. Anyway. All right.